Okay, so welcome everyone to the Procorem Tenant event training for the owners and management agents. I'm Carol Ann Spence, and I will be walking you through the presentation along with Petty Lagonde. He's going to also be providing input and demoing the Procorem tool. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to do an introduction, go through looking at Procorem, the work center, and talking about the invitations and how the system is set up, along with looking at the building and portfolio property file that was provided to the management owners and management agent, and talk through the tenant event submission that we will use the Procorem system to do, and then talk about any follow-up assistance that you may need with tenant events through Procorem. So Petty, I will turn it over to you now.
Thanks, Caroline. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I just wanted to say welcome to everyone. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Petty Lagonde. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Statewide Asset Management. So welcome and thank you for coming to this session. It's very important. Something we've worked pretty hard on the past actually 2 years, and over the summer during this pandemic. Hopefully this will be helpful to all of you. I just wanted to kind of acknowledge some of our leadership team. Of course, you met Caroline Spence. She's our consultant on this whole BAM project. She will be the main presenter here. She's been very instrumental in helping us get to this point. Also want to introduce Catherine Marnell. I don't know if she's on right now, but Catherine Marnell, she's our senior.
I'm here. Welcome, everybody.
Oh, hey, Catherine. She's our Vice President for Asset Management, also through the leadership of Dan Murphy, who's Senior Vice President, Becky Kepnick, who's the Chief Strategy Officer for Portfolio Preservation, and also Pamela Butler, who's also the AVP of Director of Compliance, who's on as well. And also acknowledge Kathy Sparks, Senior Asset Manager, and Lavina Barbell, who's our asset manager, who is also helping us out on this whole ProLink Procorem journey, as well as our entire team in statewide asset management on the 4% side. So I wanted to welcome you and thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass it over to Caroline.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Petty. So we will walk through the presentation and go through demoing the system, which is Procorem, that we'll be using. And we'll take any questions at the end of the presentation. Okay. Okay, so the purpose of this session is to provide you with, these are our objectives, to provide you with the information on our Procorem Work Center structure, the system that you'll be using to submitting the tenant events, along with understanding the HFA's building and the portfolio building and unit data that is required before you submit the tenant events. And then we'll walk through the process of submitting the tenant events and the time frame of when those are due to the agency. Okay. The asset managers several weeks back had sent out invitations by an email, but it wasn't from their personal email. It was actually from Procorem, and the email notification may have read notification@mail.com.
Welcome to WebEx. Enter your access code or meeting number followed by pound.
Okay, let me see. I can mute everyone. I'm getting feedback. Okay. Start the recording again. Okay. All right, I will unmute. And Petty, you can also unmute as needed because you and I both have the host code. So let me go back into. All right, so you should have received the email from the asset manager, but if you haven't, please reach out to your asset manager that you're working with on your portfolio and request another invitation. Let me go to the next slide. So to show you, I'll show you what the invitation will look like. But before we go, we just want to provide information on what the industry's standards are or usage is in terms of software managing portfolio properties. So we do have different options here on this page, but ProLink is also listed there. There's a 1%. So our agency has adopted using the ProLink HFA to manage the portfolio property. So it's a database that houses the portfolio details, and that database is linked to Procorem, which is where you'll be submitting the tenant events through that portal, which is Procorem, which also gets updated to ProLink HFA. Okay. So this is the sign up that we have. When you receive the email invitation, you'll get it with your name at the top, along with please join the private and secure, and it will show the name of the portfolio. So if you have multiple portfolios that you're managing with the agency, then you have to accept each one of the invitations because each portfolio has its own private work center. So we'll demo that and show you so you can get a feel of what it looks like. And once you click on the invite invitation, then you'll get to the screen where you've been invited to join. It's NYSHCR, the agency's account. So you put in your name and your password, and then you'll be signed up for that particular work center. Okay. So here's just a high level of the structure. So HCR has adopted using Procorem to collect tenant events to communicate with owner agents. So it's the main account is the header hierarchy, and then you have the work centers. Multiple work centers are linked to NYSHCR account. So that's what you're getting access to. But each of the accounts that you get access to, you'll be able to communicate, look at files that the asset manager would have posted, or if you have to share back a file, there will be task option that you can send back. You can communicate back to the asset manager. If there's a task assigned, there's posts that you can enter quick questions. And each time there's an activity, you'll get notified. So I'll show you how to manage your notifications into a work center. Okay. So this is just high level, just to reminding you, this NYSHCR. Yesterday we conducted this session, and there were some people who said they actually have used Procorem before. So if you are using Procorem for another agency, please note that when you're accessing the portfolio property by the asset manager, please note which account you are using. So I'll show you when we go into the demo, but it's definitely NYSHCR. There are multiple accounts out there, so if you're communicating out, just be aware if you have other accounts through Procorem. But the work centers are a secure and private site. So only the persons who have access to Procorem, either the asset manager who is the owner of the work center, along with any of the contributors that have been invited to join, will be able to see any of the information within that work center. So you can collaborate, upload documents. There are different roles there, but mainly you'll be a contributor. The asset manager is the owner who has a lot more flexibility within the work center in terms of access, but you'll be able to communicate with everyone online and monitor. You can look at the activities. But for today's purpose, our focus is to show you how to upload your tenant events through the tenant event portal within the Work Center, okay? So this is just a high level of what the Work Center will look like. I will switch from the presentation and go right into Procorem so you can see. But you'll see the, when you log in, once you create your own login to that Work Center you've been invited to, the name of the Work Center appears at the top. And the name has been created by the asset manager, so it has the HFA number starting first and then the portfolio property name. So you'll see that. And you'll see here the hierarchy is the NYSHCR account. So if you have multiple accounts and you click home, you may see all of those different accounts you have, but please ensure that you're selecting NYSHCR. And then your name will appear at the top right corner, along with collaborators who have access to the Work Center. And so the owner of this Work Center is Nicole, so she set up the Work Center and added the different contributors. Your name, when your name is listed there, once you accept the invitation, it will show that you're a contributor. If you haven't accepted an invitation, it will show invite pending acceptance, okay? When you log into the Work Center, it automatically defaults to files and on the left navigation, and you'll see to the right the files that were set up. We have posts that you can enter quick feedback, quick conversations within the post, task if the asset manager wants to assign you a task. You've got the calendar, the activity will show all the different activities in ProLink. The Work Center settings and the link settings, these two you don't have to worry about. These are the settings that the asset manager has set up. So the links is just that if the asset manager wants to link a portfolio to another portfolio, there's that option too. But the focus here is to go to the tenant events portal. So let me come out of the presentation, and then I'm going to go into Procorem. Let's see if I had it. Okay, no. Let me open up a browser, and I'm going to go into Procorem. I can let me take the phone off of mute if anyone has any questions so far while I get to Procorem. Let me do that. Is there any questions so far?
Zoom with the stage. It's pointless.
It would be better if people chatted.
Now, but
Okay. Right, so I'm logging into Procorem. I apologize, I thought I was there already. Okay, all right. I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. And so here's the login to Procorem. Once you've accepted the invitation, when you access the Work Center, you'll come to this login. Okay, so you have to put in your email address and whatever name, password that was created. Okay. And now I'm in a Work Center, so let me go back out and so I have access to multiple Work Centers, as I was sharing with you before. So NYSHCR is listed here. I do have access to these 3 different Work Centers. So I have to make sure that I'm in NYSHCR. So please ensure if you have the similar access to other work centers, you're accessing the right work center to submit your tenant event information, okay? So I will just pick a work center that's listed here so I can go in and show you guys. So as I showed before, see here, it shows that I am at Village East. This is the portfolio property. I'm in NYSHCR account, and I don't see any other work centers when I'm here. Okay, let me move this window. On the right-hand side, there is a search bar. If you needed to search for something in particular, you can do a search here and click on the magnifying glass here. Your name will appear on the upper right-hand corner. So the emails, you're going to be getting any notification that any one of the contributors will be sending or adding to a particular work center. If you want to minimize the emails, you can go into your name, select your name, go to preferences. And right now I have selected for the work center to get email notification, yes, and I will get it on a daily basis. You have two other options. You can choose it weekly or never, but I would not suggest never because you're going to be communicating on a portfolio, so you should get update from the asset manager with any follow-up questions that that person may have, okay? And then you would save your changes, okay?
Caroline, that was just a request to maybe increase the zoom on the spreadsheet. I mean, excuse me, on the website.
Oh, okay. So here's how you can zoom within WebEx. Within WebEx, you can. There is. Let me stop sharing this one. I can tell you. So within the WebEx, on the upper right-hand corner to the right of your name, click on one of those folders. It'll show, let's see, cross over it. It'll show floating panel, and that'll make the whole screen bigger. I hope that helps. Does that help? I have to go in. Let me go into the chat to see. Oh, I need to turn up my computer volume. Okay, I'm going to turn up my microphone on my, I've dialed into the meeting using a headset. No, I wasn't sharing. I'm going to share now. Okay, so hopefully so if you need to see the screen bigger within the WebEx, please just click on the upper right-hand corner, the floating panel. Okay, so let me go back to sharing. Okay. All right, so I was here in the Village East Apartments. So I've come here to the folders. There are standard folders that the asset manager has added to every work center, so you will see them here, and you can communicate, review the folders based on whatever communication the asset manager is requesting. The post is real time, so you can enter a message here. You say hello, and oh, okay. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a weird request. Okay, so you can post a message directly within the post and then click create post, and then that message, it will appear at the bottom. So anyone who has access to this work center, on the right side, you'll see Jacob is the owner. Kathy is a contributor, along with everyone else who is listed here. Okay, I think I just saw a question from someone. So everyone will be able to see the post for this particular work center. Everyone meaning whoever has access. These are the only folks who have access to this work center. Okay. These are the tasks. So if the asset manager wants, that person can create a task for you, and they would just click create task and assign it out. You can assign it out to, I'm getting a lot of background. They can assign it out to a particular person, put in the information, but you guys don't have to worry about that because mainly the tasks are going to be from the asset manager. The calendar option is here to view whatever task that the asset manager has created can show here, or any activity that it shows here. This activity is option on the left. It really just shows all the activities within the work center that has occurred over since the creation of the work center. So it should show at the top, I just posted a hello message. It will show if any files or folders were, information was added, but it's really the activity of the work center. See, hello appears at the top. These two settings, you don't have to access those. The asset manager is going to manage the work center settings or the linking of work centers to another portfolio. But for now, each portfolio have their own work center, okay? This is the portal that is the focus of our session for today. So for this particular one, I selected a new project, but let me go back and find the one I was looking at. And so here. So the tenant event portal is going to be our focus. So I'm going to go back to the presentation a moment, and then we'll come back to this screen, okay? Okay. All right, so before you can submit the tenant events, all the asset managers have sent out a building and unit template, and that template needs to be verified by the owner or the management agent. We need you to verify the property name, the BIN number, the unit type, and square footage. And the reason being is that the information that we are storing on ProLink HFA, which is a database that we have managing all of the portfolios, that information needs to be up to date based on these items so that you can submit the tenant events in the portal, because ProLink and Procorem are linked, and the information in ProLink has to match what is in Procorem listed. So if you try to send something that the property name is different than what we have here at the agency, the file is going to, or you won't be able to enter the information into Procorem. So the key items, let me move the polling here. The key items on the match, the key item for the match is the property name and the unit number. Those two things need to match along with the bedroom type. So please ensure that you you respond to the asset manager with any changes. Let me go to the next slide so you can see the file I'm referring to. You should have received a file with, looks like this. This is a sample here where it has the HFA number, property name, county, the assigned manager, BIN number, building, unit, number of bedrooms, and square footage. You don't have to change anything if everything matches. So the key fields that we need you to provide feedback on are the property names, definitely the BIN number, it needs to be right, the unit number, and the bedroom. So we need you to review the file, send back feedback before you start to submit the tenant events into Procorem.
Hey, Caroline,
Okay.
can I interject
Yes.
for 1 second?
Yes.
So let's define match. So when you look at this chart and you get a unit number, when you the unit number must match exactly. So in this particular example, there's a unit called 1-1, but if in your software you call it 1-1 or 1/1, that's not the same as 1-1. So the key to this is to match what we have. And this is like information that we obtained from previous AI2UR reports, and also through knowledge from the asset manager. So the point of this is to get the information correct. So in terms of the unit number and the property name, the name that is in your property management software, it must match exactly. If it doesn't, you're going to get all types of errors. So I just wanted to reiterate what match means. Also, a lot of you guys have been sending these back, but if you look at the top and it says, please highlight all changes, that means highlight any changes that you made so we can understand what changes and we can make those changes in our system so everything matches correctly. Thank you.
Okay, no, that's good. Thank you, Petty. Okay. All right, we'll keep going. So I'm going to show you now. Okay. My screen. Okay. Oops, sorry, I hit the thing twice. Okay, so let me just make sure and go. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so the next thing is how can you submit information into Procorem with the tenant events? So the Procorem will accept the NAMA file format, which is XML, the National Affordable Housing Management Association standard file. So that file format, XML, can be generated from any of the softwares that you may be using to manage your portfolio property. We just put some examples here: Yardi, OneSite, RealPage, or any others, QuickBooks. So please ensure that you can generate an XML file out of these software. The version is 4.0 or higher. Okay, so if you have any questions on the software, the file format, we won't be able to answer that for you. You'll need to reach out to your software company to get it into the NAMA file format. Okay, the file format is our preferred way that we're asking for owner agents to submit tenant events. You can enter the tenant event information directly in Procorem manually, but that can be tedious if you have a lot of properties to manage and a lot of different changes to update. Okay. This link, and I'll go and show you the link later on. This link takes you to, has general information on Procorem. So it actually will give you some more background on Procorem, show you how to upload tenant events. So I'll show that to you at the end, okay? Sorry, my system. Okay, so we're gonna go back into Procorem in a moment, but I just wanna show you the steps on how to submit file submission, and Petty will go in and demo submitting a tenant event file. So again, in Procorem, you would select tenant events, which will take you into the portal. Now, this is the portal. You'll see your portfolio work center name at the top for the agency. But within here, it'll show compliance period that is open and the year. So 2019 has been submitted and completed, and we use a different process. So we use the AI2UR that was a standard before at the agency to receive and update information. But now we've moved to using Procorem because we moved to a new system, which is ProLink, and Procorem has the information that will be linked into ProLink. So for this project, the next compliance period that is open, and it shows the unlock key events pending, is 2020. So that is the year that we're looking to receive the annual tenant event submission for 2020 starting in January, along with any other tenant events. And the next year, you'll see 2021 appear here. So you would click View Events, okay? Go. And next, another screen will appear for this work center only. Click on the Import Tenant Events. And at the bottom, you'll see here the units for that particular work center, for that particular portfolio. These information is all coming from ProLink that has populated here into Procorem. So that's where you see the last tenant events that were submitted for 2019 is listed here. So the first part, you'll choose the import button, okay? And then you will get taken to another screen. Again, you'll have the XML file in 4.0 or higher, but you'll have that on your personal drive. So now you'll need to choose the file, and it just shows here the option to choose. Now you choose the file, and excuse me a second. So you choose the file, and once you upload the file, it'll show, this is just the file summary here. It says completed, whatever the file name was, and actually it shows the vendor system, whatever it was used for, and it'll show in the middle the version. So you're looking for 4.0 or higher. ProLink right now is configured to accept 4.0 and higher, okay? So you've got, for this particular file, 135 tenant events were imported. It will show the date the file was uploaded, okay? Okay, so, excuse me. Sorry about that, my throat keeps getting dry, excuse me. So now we have the tenant event files, and when you upload a file, ProLink is going to process it. Process it means review the portfolio property name, the unit numbers, and the bedroom type, and it'll tell you if there's any errors on the file. So this screen is just showing you if there's any errors, an example of that. That failed with errors, or it was completed, it was uploaded, okay? So just be mindful of when you're uploading, pay attention to, did the file upload with the details correctly? If it failed, you can correct it in Procorem. You'll be able to select and correct it, or preferably you should correct it in your local software system so that both the software and Procorem has the match and updated information, okay? So we're gonna do a demo so you can see that in a moment. Now, once the file has been imported successfully and it's completed, then you'll get it'll show here that it's completed, you've got a big success. Now you can go back to the compliance period right here, because now you need to finalize the process. It's been uploaded, you'll see the status here, and it says tenant event import was successful. If it failed, then it would show that it failed, okay? So the next step is, the first one was importing the file, and now the next step is, is to select tenant event validation. So that's to complete the process. And then you'll see a message at the bottom that shows passed and how many tenant events were validated and the units. And then you'll click on the submit tenant events, and then that's the end of submitting the tenant event, okay? Before Petty goes, I just want to show you can manually enter it in. So that's the next few slides that I have here. You start off the same way, selecting the tenant events, but instead of importing, you're going to, instead of choosing the import, you would go directly below to choosing the unit and selecting a unit. So each unit you manually enter, but like I mentioned earlier, the preference is for you to do a file because it can be tedious with multiple units, multiple buildings and multiple units, okay? It's a little similar, then you would click add tenant events. For that one unit, you would select, once you selected the unit from the prior screen, you would click add tenant events, and then you get to another screen here where you can select different options. Recertify, move in and out, do tenant transfer, whatever changes you have, you would enter that here along with additional household information details. There's on the screen, and then you would save, click the save button at the top of the screen. That's to manually enter it in. But again, then you come back to this compliance period for the portfolio, and then do the same tenant event validation and submit. Okay, Patty, I'm going to stop sharing and I will turn it over to you to continue with the demo. Let me stop. And then I'll answer any questions in the chat folks may have. Okay.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. I unmuted myself.
Yes.
Share my screen. Okay, so 1 second. Yeah, I'm sharing the right screen. So this is an example of Procorem, and so I'm going to add tenant events. So I received a XML file for the year 2018. So what you do here is it hasn't been submitted yet. So what you do is go to view events, and the key here is to go to import the tenant events, and you would click choose the file, and I'm looking for the XML file. So the XML file for this project, Baisley Park Gardens, is here, and then you would simply upload that XML file. The XML file is basically a data dump of all your data in your system. So it shows all the move in, move out, income information, the name of the tenant, the unit, household members, et cetera, et cetera. So you would click upload and click OK. And as you can see, it says processing. So it processes, and then it says pending. So you have to wait. A lot of times it will show pending. A lot of times you have to jump out and then jump back in. guess it won't allow me to do that while it's working. So basically, when it's pending, it's saying it's working. So it's uploading that information. Let me see what happens if I refresh. No, it's not allowing me to refresh my page. If I click this, let me see. Well, it's not allowing me to go back into the 2018 tenant events. I'm trying to find where it's uploaded, if it did indeed upload. So it looks like it's just working right now, maybe a huge file.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it won't let you while it's processing. Okay.
This is the first time I've seen that. Usually I can jump in and out, and usually I'll see the results if I jump out and then go back to the same node. So it looks like it's processing. I will give it a little bit more time. But in any event, oh, there it goes. Now, if I go back. Yeah, maybe my internet is maybe a little slow, but in any event, you should be able to jump in and then jump back in just to see the results of that particular. So you should see it here, and then you would put the tenant event validation. So let me see if I can go back. Looks like it's processed. My internet may be slow, but it looks like it did process because this shows 2018 and the tenant events that were processed for that particular. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Okay, so I'll put view events.
But that's okay, because you know what? It's good to show what the system, you know, if you don't see a result right away.
Yeah, it did import, so I would click tenant event validation, and that's where it goes into the validation. So it says ready to validate, and you would click validate. So it validates those tenant events I just imported. So as you can see, it's working, and at the end, you should see some type of a result, what happened in that validation. If there's an error, yeah, you see, I'm getting an error. So I'm getting an error, and this tells me the validation errors for this particular year. So you can actually click on the validation error, and you go right into that unit. This is the household income. So it actually tells you what's the error where you can go back and you can correct it. Whatever happened, so you can correct it here. It may be an error with the household members, household income. So I have to go back to the previous node to see where the errors were. So the household income with a populated annual income is required for this event. So what happened is there's no income for this particular unit. So what you have to do is you have to go to that particular unit, and then you have to enter the household income. You see it has no household income, so you have to actually enter the income because we didn't have that information. So when you enter the household income and you click that and you save, and then you redo the validation, that should clear all the validation errors.
Show it for this particular
Sure. I
fix. Okay.
Yeah, I can go to, I'm just putting information. So annual income, so I'm going to put $40,000, and then I would save. And it says household income saved successfully. So basically I would go back to create the, to look at the other errors. There's only one more. Same situation where you go to household income. This household must have an income. It must have some type of information. So a household must have some income to qualify as a tax credit property. So maybe some information was not listed. So you put federal wage, and then you would put household income $3,000. You would save. So that was saved successfully. So I would go back and evaluate that again. So it's validating the tenant events once again for the two units that were wrong. And I'm hoping to get a success soon. Yes, it passed. So the two corrections I just made show the tenant events were corrected, and then you would just submit those tenant events, and those tenant events will upload to our system. Caroline, you can take over now.
Okay, all right. I will grab the screen. Okay. Okay, let me grab the screen back. Okay, so what Petty just showed you is how to upload and submit the tenant events, and actually it was good that you showed how to fix errors. You can fix it within Procorem, but if you have the same information within your software, you can fix it from your software and generate a new file and upload into Procorem, okay?
Yes, Caroline, that's a good point, to fix it in your software, because if you save it into your tenant events and then you do it again, you would have that same error on your software if you're doing it through your software like Yardi or RealPage. But if you're doing it manually, it probably doesn't matter.
Yes. Yep. Okay, so there's been a lot of questions on the chat, which is really good in terms of when do you start. So the submission process, we're expecting to start January 20th. The system is ready, but before you start, you must send back your feedback to the asset manager on the building and unit template. That is really key to make sure we have the matching portfolio property name, the unit number match, the bedroom, if there was any changes in the square footage. All of that needs to be added, but definitely the key, the property name along with the unit needs to match so that you can upload a file into Procorem. The time period to start for the annual submission for 2020 tenant events, it starts also January 20th. And that will go through to March 20th of next year. If there's any changes in that time frame, the asset manager will provide you any changes, but that is the deadline that is required to submit for 2020 previous. Okay. Right. So I just want to go through there's a couple of more. Just want to mention, so when you're working on submitting the tenant events, the asset manager is there to provide you any information on Procorem, but they're not there to help you because they're learning, they've just learned the system just as you are. So just verify your building and unit information. If you have any issues with the submission, if you receive an error that you cannot fix, then definitely go to send an email to ProLink Solution. This is the email address. We'll provide this document along with a guide at the end so that you guys will have it. But you reach out to Procorem if you have any issues with uploading the file or making a change on Procorem. Send an email with your issue, copy the asset manager so they'll know, and ProLink Help Desk, they will resolve any errors or issues you may be having with submitting your file. Okay. And last, I just want to remind you again, the tenant event submissions are due through starting January 20th, monthly, and then annually starting January 20th. These are the resource links that are available to you to assist you. So this first one, this is a general link. This is the login screen that I showed you, and this one is on the email notification. Okay, so I'm going to come out of here so I can go into this link so you will see it. It's a help link. Here it is, and it is a help link. Make it bigger, and it just again reiterates what we've talked about here, what Petty demoed, and how to upload the file into Procorem. So it's a good link to use and reference back to importing or validating. Everything is here with a refresher. We will also provide you with this reference guide. So again, you'll have it. You may not want to look at the large presentation, but it is here with information on how to log in, get the invitation from the asset manager, then log in yourself to the Procorem Work Center, log out. On the next, it also reminds you of the period, the compliance period, but it actually has the steps, 1 through 10 for importing, or 1 through 8 for the manual, along with the link to that site I just shared with you. So please make sure you reach out to your asset manager and get your invitation to the work center so that you will be able to start in January. But get your invitation and review the building and unit file that the asset manager has sent. I'm going to stop. I'll unmute the phone. I know we've been answering questions on the chat, but if there's anyone else that has a question, so let me unmute all. Oops, sorry. Okay, I've unmuted it. If anyone has any questions, please raise your question.
Oh, Lord. Is that funny?
Thanks, folks. can. So if someone wants to ask a question, put their name in the chat. Let me do that.
Can you pass around in a room?
Stephanie, okay. All right, hold on, Stephanie. Let me unmute you because it's. Okay, so Patty, unfortunately, it just shows to unmute all. I don't have the option to not unmute all. So. One second. Let me find Stephanie in the participant guide. Let me look for Stephanie.
Hello.
1 second.
Hi, hello, Sabrina.
Go ahead.
Because they can clear the whole phone system.
Okay. I've just muted everyone. So if you're going to ask a question, I'm going to unmute folks. Please put your computer on, select the computer speaker and mute that, because I think that is giving a lot of feedback. So please do that and then use your mic. So I'm going to unmute everyone again. Okay.
Away from their own.
Someone in the chat has asked, do we submit December 20th project report as usual? Honey, do you want to answer that? Hey, everyone, just submit your questions in the chat. I'm going to mute everyone right now. It's too. Okay. All right, Patty, can you unmute yourself? I'll read the questions that are in the chat.
Okay, unmute Pam as well.
Pam? Let me find Pam.
Okay, so Shelley Flanagan, are we sending all annual reports, tenant research? So what you're doing is you're sending a record of what happened to that that household during that particular year, particular month. The goal is to ultimately replace the AIQUR report. So you will just enter that information for the household. If there's a move in, move out at the end of the month or the 20th of the month, you would simply put that information in the Procorem system.
So in essence, this is Pamela. In essence, what's happening is that for 2020, normally around this time, you would be trying to finish up drafting your AIQURs to make the submissions between January and March. Now you don't have to do that. With the submission of a NAMA file or XML file format, that information will be extracted from your system and submitted through the Procorem Work Center as part of an import. If you're not able to do that, then you would manually enter the information as if you were drafting your AIQUR. So the actual AIQUR spreadsheet is going away in terms of the 2020 tenant events. For 2021, we want you to start submitting your tenant events on a monthly basis. So very similar to what you do with submission of occupancy reporting on the 20th of the following month, you'll be doing the same thing by submitting monthly tenant events for January, starting in February by the 20th of the month. So you have two things going on. First, the submission of the 2020 tenant events for the period of January through March. And then starting in February of 2021, You're going to start submitting monthly tenant events each month on or before the 20th of the month.
So that, to answer Brian Swaley's question, will this replace the monthly occupancy report? That's the hope, that's the goal. We hope we are looking at this as a goal to replace the monthly occupancy report, because when you submit your tenant events, hopefully the system will show us what units are vacant, which will essentially be a quasi occupancy report, if that makes sense. So we're hoping to transition to a new system, so we don't use these antiquated spreadsheets. Does that answer your question, Brian?
Yeah, Brian, I also answered your question in the chat as well. You might have to scroll down a little bit.
Oh.
We basically want everyone to get as comfortable with using the work centers as possible, so that we have a centralized vehicle for the owners and our agents to make submissions. This will eliminate the need for multiple drop boxes that we are currently using with you, and also centralize the information for the asset managers. So you don't have to worry, oh, well, did the asset manager get it or didn't get it? Because they will get a notification once submissions come through the Procorem work centers.
Andrea Stone, a detailed, we're recording this session, so we kind of detailed what you need to do. I'm not sure your question about what is expected of us didn't explain what we need to do. We will have a recording of this session if you weren't on in the beginning. Hope that answers your question. Tenant events, Teresa Vacante, tenant event. A tenant event is just something that happens to a tenant during a particular year or month. So a tenant event can be a move in, move out, recertification, transfer, et cetera, et cetera. That is a tenant event. When you have all these tenant events during a year, it essentially shows what happens to the compliance of that property during the year, which is what you did for the AIQR. So the tenant event was the recertification of all these tenants on so-and-so year on a particular month. So you entered a whole bunch of tenants on the AIQR. Does that make sense? I forgot, Ms. Vacante, Teresa?
If you think about it, the Procorem tenant event option is a mirror. It's almost mirroring what you're used to submit on the AIQUR, except that this information is being pulled out of your system instead of you entering that information on an Excel spreadsheet and submitting it to us. So you don't have to, how can I say it, sort of filter what you're sending in. We will get that once you send in the NAMA or the XML file format.
Sergeant Barney, the delinquent rent report, no, this has nothing to do with that. you will continue to send that via email to the asset manager that requested.
Okay, as we mentioned, and it's Carol Ann also mentioned, this is our beginning foray into using the Procorem work centers. So we're all on the same learning curve. And again, as we go through 2021, we will definitely be expanding the use of the Procorem work centers, again, to centralize the receipt of information as best as possible. We have several different folders associated with the work centers, which once you go in, you'll be able to see the titles associated with those folders and how certain other information can come through the work centers. The monthly occupancy reporting, RR requests, that type of information will be able to come in and be saved in those folders. So this is our first foray, baptism by fire. And going forward, we, definitely will expand the use of the work centers to make it easier for us to centralize our information, communicate with you, for you to communicate with us, and just streamline the whole process, eliminate the number of Excel worksheets that we're using, and so forth.
Danielle Tomlinson.
One moment. Let me. Yes, I'm unmuting her now. Okay, she's unmuted. Danielle, go ahead.
Hi. I just wanted to know what the form